Thank you very much again for coming. A short agenda. The presentation is going to be about 15 minutes long, so not a very long time. We're going to start off by telling you where it all began. So how we started, where we got our motivation that led us to talk here in front of you guys to reach out for you. Then we're going to move on to our vision and our long-term goals. What do we want to achieve in the future? What are our goals? Where do we see ourselves in the next weeks, months, years? And then of course we're going to introduce our very simple model, the construction, which is our idea of a solution that we've been working on. And then we're going to tell you pretty much why we're here and why we're reaching out to you guys, so what we're looking for, okay? And there's of course going to be time for some questions and hopefully reasonable answers from our side. So, do you understand everything? I'm sure. Am I speaking too fast, too quickly? No problem? Okay, good. So where did it all begin? As Selina already said, she's been here, she's like a veteran volunteer. She's been here since November of last year, working at schools on these environmental projects. So she actually started everything before me. I got here in February of this year, and we met in the village of Swaragao in the Gorka district, which, as some of you might know, is very close to the epicenter of last year's earthquake. Okay, so it's become kind of an international crossroad for NGOs. So the eyes are kind of on that region, okay? Which is also why we chose Swaragao to kind of start our project in, because if it's successful, we're going to have like international eyes on it, and it's going to be, more likely to develop into something bigger and start a movement. So, to get back to the beginning, this is where we met early in February, and she was teaching at the school. I was there to do some general volunteering, help to rebuild schools, but pretty quickly some problem jumped right into our faces, or she kind of told me about it, and it was, very hard not to see. And the problem is, of course, a problem of the entire country, of Kathmandu, of the entire world. Non-recyclable plastic waste lying around everywhere, okay, which is not very nice. But what's even worse is the way that the locals deal with it. They pile it up and they burn it, sometimes during class time, which intoxicates the rooms where the students are inside with these very harmful fumes. Also the homes, and what they also do is, when we ask them what do you do with the ashes, they sometimes dump them in the river, which supplies drinking water for the villages further down. So they're poisoning their neighbors without knowing, and some of them even use the very toxic ashes as a fertilizer for the fields. So the toxic waste actually gets sucked up by the plant, and you pretty much grow cancer food. And these people didn't know that, so we saw that problem and wanted to find at least a solution to start educating people and to start talk about the problem and involve also the teachers and the local villagers. So we did some small school program. We taught some classes through grades 3 to 10, 11, and that's when we came across another problem, that when we tried to involve the local teachers and the villagers, and I don't mean this in any offensive way, but we realized how uneducated they are. So it is very difficult to explain to them the long-term consequences. Okay, if it doesn't hurt you, if you don't bleed, it's not bad for you. It's very difficult to explain to them, if you breathe it in, if you put it in the field, maybe, in a couple of years you'll have cancer, or, it's very harmful for your lungs. So this is, again, one of the main reasons why we're here speaking to you guys, who are, so to speak, the, elite of engineering, the upcoming elite of engineering of Nepal, okay? So we want to reach out to educated people who, can share our vision and be motivated. So, vision. I'm going to move on to our vision and the long-term goals that we have, that we set for ourselves and that we're really committed to work on together with our partners in Germany and as a team. we want to turn this non-recyclable plastic waste, which is, all kinds of plastic bags and papers from instant noodles. And it sounds like small stuff, but it really, really adds up, in all the villages. So we want to turn this into a product that you can use. So we want to turn this non-recyclable plastic waste into recyclable plastic waste, so that the local people, the population, can benefit from it. We want to teach them, what they can do, how they can differently handle it, and it might very well develop into a working business model, okay, step by step. And this is also always very interesting, there's money involved, okay? If you can make money, that's a very good motivation for most people, which is not a bad thing, for me it's the same thing. So money is always a good motivation. So those are our long-term goals, yeah? That we really want to create a movement, kind of, starting, with a pilot project, starting small, and then getting further and further. And this brings us to the actual solution and the construction that we're working on. And it's an extremely simple idea, which is why Selina and I thought the whole time, if it's that easy, why didn't anyone else before us think of that? Okay? So this is why, we've been talking, emailing back and forth with our partners in Germany, and who are really experienced in the field, also plastic recycling, and they actually told us it's a good idea. Okay? So I'm going to start with what kind of end product do we want to produce. In the general plastic recycling, like on an industry level, okay, of PET containers, of recyclable plastic, they cut the plastic with cutting mills, with shredders. They cut it into small pieces, which you guys probably know, yeah, and they melt them or reproduce them into plastic bottles, plastic bags, and so on. And they do that with really big machines, very big, expensive industrial machines, which are high-powered, and cost a lot of money. So the product that we want to create with this non-recyclable plastic waste is pretty much the same thing, like small little flakes of plastic, of shredded plastic, that could be used, for example, in insulating homes. If you, in those areas where they really don't have money, and bricks are very expensive out there, okay? One brick is, I think, costs around €1, which is $1. That's more expensive than Germany. And they're building they live a lot in tin huts, yeah, with the roof made out of, tin, out of metal. So the idea that we had with our partners together to build an installation is have 2 layers of, the tin, and then in between you pour the plastic flakes, and the air between, the air between those flat flakes is what insulates. So that would be a very good, even earthquake-proof and very cheap idea to insulate, which is one example. Another example would be filling of pillows, mattresses, blankets, okay, which is also very, very cheap and insulated, and so on and so forth. There's much more examples from the construction, but I'm not going to bore you with technical details. So how do we create those flakes? How do we generate the power to cut this plastic into those small pieces? Power is a big problem here in Nepal. Even in Kathmandu, you have maybe 8 or 10 hours where there's no electricity, right? And you also have the problem that, because of blockades from India, I think, that fuel, gasoline, is a big problem, okay? So not a reliable source of energy. Solar panels are very expensive, for the regions that we're talking about. And, we don't know if it could generate the power that is needed. So I'm going to cut a long story short and tell you how we kind of got the idea that is now the final solution that we're working on. We were on a hike, trekking through the mountains, and then we saw a very traditional old mill, water-powered mill, okay, that creates flour out of corn, that crushes all kinds of you know,
Material.
material and plants, agricultural products, is what I meant to say, into, you know, into flour and all kinds, yeah, small pieces. So the technology that we observed, you know, this rotational movement powered by water, and there's a lot of, you know, a lot of rivers, and Nepal is one of the countries, you know, with the most water. So that's actually how easy and simple the idea is. And we thought, why don't you build one of the small mill-kind buildings, use this rotation of the water, and with some kind of gearbox transition, accelerate the speed, and you know, you can kind of generate the force that such a cutting mill would need to shred this kind of paper. Okay? And this is pretty much how easy the idea is. Underneath you have a basket or something like a net. If the flakes have the right size, okay, they fall through it. And then the villagers, the local people, can pack it in bags, pick it up, and bring it to their village to do whatever use there is. Okay? We're working on more and more uses in the construction field and so on for these kind of flakes. So that's pretty much how simple and easy the idea is. Should you have like any technical questions or not understood how it works, but I'm sure your your background knowledge is much more than ours. So it's very, very simple, and that's what we're working on with our German partners. And yeah, so it might very well become a business model. We're very aware that it's a small start in a small area, but if it works and people see that it works, you know, it might work, you know, it might get to a bigger scale, okay, where it even might become a solution for cities as big as Kathmandu. Of course, not with a small river and a small mill, but you know, it's still in work in progress. So that's pretty much about it. And why we're here and what we're looking for is we don't want to bring like a Western idea that we developed with German engineers and come here to Nepal and force it on you, okay? We want the support of local people with local networks, with an understanding of the local culture, and that are motivated to, you know, invest some time, that are reliable, that maybe have, you know, local networks to share with us in the construction area, that have technological knowledge, craftsmanship, but pretty much anyone who's, you know, who can share the vision, who's interested in contributing, is very, very welcome to join us. Or we have a paper where you can sign up, you know, your name or contact information to, and then we'll write you an email. We'll include you in the exchange that we have with our German partners, and you know, we'll see where it goes from there. As we said, it's a project in the beginning. We've been working on it, but we have strong backup from Germany, and the idea doesn't seem as bad as it is simple. So,
thank you for listening.
Thank you for your attention.